Hey buddies, thanks for tuning in. Hope you're well. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 3 reasons that practice does not make perfect. You heard me. Make sure to stay tuned to the end because I'll be sharing with you what practice does make. So without further ado, let's rock on. So first and foremost, we need to take a little bit of a step back and have a look at, well, what is perfect? What is this ideology, this notion of perfect, this bar that we've got up here that's always going to be better than us, we're never going to hit, and will actually be a little bit of a crushing force. Perfect is the end result as set by the task setter, the teacher, the tutor, the trainer, the pro. For example, if I was on a golf course, for me personally, I managed to even hit the ball, let alone it goes in a straight line. To me, that's perfect. But the golf pro, because it's their job, is going to say, no, we need to do X, Y, Z, and loads more to get anywhere near perfect. We need to get away from this notion of perfection. It's got a dictionary definition that I think is always going to sit up here. We're always going to be aiming for it. And perfect is always going to be better than we're practicing in the way that the person set the task told us to practice in order to achieve their idea of perfection, but we're not seeing results. So we give that feedback. We're not seeing any results. Not practicing enough. It isn't improving. Keep practicing. When is it going to be perfect? You will. Just keep practicing. There's got to be a point where we take the initiative and say, I've got to pivot. This isn't working. The way that I'm being taught is not working. I'm not going to achieve perfection by practicing in the way that I have been told to practice. So point 2 is very much practice will not make perfect if we are not being taught, learning and practicing in an effective way, because there are so many different types of learners. People absorb information in so many different ways. Maslow, there are lots and lots of case studies on this. People absorb information in different ways. So the idea someone's going to teach you something for their version of perfect in their way, that's going to blanket work for everybody, and if you're not achieving it, it's just because you're not practicing enough, is nonsense and frankly quite damaging. Point number 3, we've put the work in, we've pivoted the way that we've learned, we've put the hours in, and we have nailed it. Whether it's a guitar riff, whether it's a piano song, whether it's hitting every note vocally from beginning to end, whether it's walking out onto a stadium or big stage and smashing the performance of your life, we will never acknowledge perfect. Because again, by very definition, we can be here. Perfect is always going to be here. Even a through and through professional is very rarely in an interview or on stage or after a conversation, after a performance, going to say, yeah, I'm perfect. Yeah, I nailed it. We will never acknowledge perfect. And if somebody does ever say to you, yeah, I'm absolutely perfect, we are not going to respond well to that arrogance, folks. There is confidence and then there is arrogance. So even if we achieve perfection, even if that is our own acknowledgement of what perfection is, we won't acknowledge it because we always allow perfect to be up here. It's an idea. So buddies, I've shared with you my top 3 reasons why I believe practice does not make perfect. Number 1, what is perfection? It's just an ideology. Number 2, that notion of practice makes perfect. Incorrect. How are we practicing? To whose standard and in what way are we practicing? And is it effective? By definition, practice alone will not make perfect. We've got to look at how we're doing that and is it effective? And point number 3, even if we do achieve our goals, we will not acknowledge perfection because it's always up here. So you've heard there my 3 reasons that practice doesn't make perfect. So what does practice make? Practice makes, drum roll please, permanent. Practice makes permanence. If we're practicing something ineffectively, we're not going to achieve the result that we want, that perfect. If we're practicing something wrong, it's going to stay wrong. It's drummed into us. Practice makes perfect. No, it bloody well doesn't. It makes permanent. How are we learning something? The result is going to be an outcome of how we've been learning something and how effective it's actually been. Practice makes permanence. If we practice something in an effective way for us, we're going to get ever closer to achieving that idea of perfect. If we're just practicing something mindlessly again and again and again, because that's what's been drummed into us from school, practice makes perfect, it's not going to achieve the result. Practice does not make perfect, practice makes permanence. So there you have it, guys. I hope you found that useful. If you liked the video, please leave a comment below and tell me why. Don't forget to subscribe to the Buddies Beach YouTube channel, because I'm going to be here every Friday uploading some content and giving you as much value and help as possible. If you think anybody would benefit from or would like to check out Buddies Beats on YouTube, please send them along and make sure that they subscribe, and I will see you this time next week. Keep rocking and have a fantastic week.